So just to show you another project I've picked up. This is a Fiat Doblo van. It's actually a wheelchair van. It takes a wheelchair and obviously passengers. And this has a severe mechanical fault with the engine. So this is going to be a very quick turnaround. I've actually got another engine for it, and it's going to be basically a one-day job. So I'm going to continue on with this. Little van. This is a wheelchair accessible van that I came across, and it's quite a fresh wee van, quite new. Unfortunately, it's had damage to the engine, so I have another engine here, and I'm going to try and pull this out and in a day. So we'll put on a hyperlapse, and there'll not be much talking, just stripping, and we'll see how we get on and come back to you. Right, so moving forward, you can actually see bonnet's gone. We have taken radiator out, front panel's gone, starting to disconnect all the wiring loom for all the injectors, and getting basically the rest of the fluids out of it. So it's going to slow me down a wee bit, but starting to look at the engine. So engine mountings here, still haven't decided whether I'm going to actually split the engine or take the whole thing gearbox out. So carry on, do another wee bit of unplugging, and I'll come back to you. Right, another sort of half an hour stripping. We've lost the battery box, all the wires, the wiring loom. This is your ECU. So I've disconnected the engine harness part of it. It's all together. Actually started disconnecting on the engine as well, but I'll just lift it away and do it. Also power steering. Had to get the power steering fluid drained out of it and disconnect the fuel lines. So I think at the back I have a couple of fuel lines to do, and I'm going to start doing, I think I'm going to try and split it from the gearbox. So start on doing the gearbox bolts, leave a gearbox in where it is, and I think I have the turbo pipe still to disconnect. Your turbo, we small turbo in the front of the engine there, you can see the fan, so the turbo and the exhaust to disconnect, and also a couple of fuel lines. So we're in it for about 2 hours to this stage, so I'll work on a wee bit and we'll see how we go. Now I've got the other engine in, and I'm going to have to work through and see what needs to be transferred, and also I'll be looking to see where the bolts are for the gearbox, for taking the gearbox off and separating it. As you can see, it's a pretty complete engine, and again everything's all stripped here, so we're just working on this side. A few water hoses and a few bits and pieces around the back of the engine. It's hard to see, so by using this here one, I can figure out what's connected and what's disconnected. Okay, so final step. Now remove the beam and intercooler and stuff. It was just going to get in the way. So that's it all totally stripped. So final bolts and the mounting, and I'm going to put it on the elapse obviously for doing that. We'll get this one lifted out. So hopefully you should see it sitting beside this other one within the next minute. It's going to be a minute for you, so a bit longer for me. Right, okay, so started this at 11 o'clock this morning and we are at 7 o'clock tonight. So this was the engine I got. This is the engine that was in it and is now out, and I actually got held up. That stupid exhaust on the front there kept me about guts of an hour trying to save it. So I'll just pull that out and we'll do another pipe in the front, either weld it or just probably put a new exhaust on it, to be honest. That's part of the problem, it was rusted out. So gearbox still in, although probably, I don't know, might have been handier to take out, but it's out now, and this is the carnage that you're left with. So I'm actually going to just come back to it tomorrow morning and finish it off. I've started transferring over some of the pipes. Got to transfer over the downpipe. Some of the other bits and pieces are a bit fresher looking on my engine, and starting a pile of other bits and pieces we don't need, and then radiators and all the front panels and things. So all in all, not too bad. I've spent more time sort of with silly things like the exhaust and different bits and pieces I've been trying to save, and plugs and things like that, than actually stripping the whole front of the van. But this is the way it goes, and putting it back in will be hopefully an awful lot quicker. So I'll catch up with you again tomorrow morning. Right, so moving on, and what you're looking at, unfortunately, because I wasn't able to record it, is the fitting of this engine. So that's the new one in, and what I had to do today, and why it took so long, was I had to actually strip nearly every component off that engine, all the parts, all the mountings, everything was different. So it basically just took hours and hours and hours. Not what I was expecting at all. What I've done on other engine conversions. So that's basically a bare engine now. Everything was swapped over. Ended up with lots of parts, replacement bits, mountings, turbos have been replaced and everything else. So I'm virtually in, and that's my 24 hours up. So I'm close enough. So I'm going to actually leave it until tomorrow now again, and come back and attach just the starter motor bits and pieces to it, and leave the front panel off, and we'll try it, and I'm going to record that. So that'll be in just a couple of minutes from now. Right, okay, so it's now been a couple of days at this project, a couple of days since I last worked at it even as well. So everything's sitting on, everything's plumbed in. I'm just going to finish off today, check everything for water leaks, and I'm planning on driving this home. So I'll put it on a hyperlapse, you can watch me build it up, and then I'll come back to you whenever it's finished. Right, probably not a lot to see different. Just a reversal, obviously, putting everything back up again. So that's it, finished. Everything on. Headlights in, bumpers all on, all the guards. Engine has been serviced. So I changed the oil filters on it whenever I did it. After it started the last time. The only thing is there's a small crack in the airbox, which I will repair later. But I'm actually going to drive it tonight. So that's everything sorted. And what I'll do is I'll give it a bit of a drive, a bit of a clean up, and then I shall come back and sort of finish off, show you the lifts and things working on the back, what it actually does. pretty difficult in the end. A lot of silly things held me back. A lot of rack bolts, a lot of, like I said, exhaust and things like that, a lot of seize bolts, and just when I'm putting it back, just that wee bit of time spent, just always is better on it just to make sure everything's right. So that'll be the end of this video for this project. I'll basically do an update on it. It's probably taken me 3 full days in total, but that's been broken up. I had a bit of a break in between it. I was away for a couple of days there, so that's it all sorted. I'd like to say thank you to all the recent subscribers that I've got, and please share the videos if you like what you're watching, or if you have any suggestions, comments for me, post them in the comments box. I'll always come back to anybody that sends me a message. I'll come back to you, and happy to answer any questions. But thanks for following, and I look forward to getting started into the Defender the rest of the week.